we are Aiding Generations, and Aiding Generations is a nonprofit organization that exists to help teens gain careers in the understaffed and rapidly growing senior living industry. So first, I'll introduce our team. We have Coco, who is currently based in Shanghai, but wanted to be here today to support. She is a recent graduate of Shaw's MMH program and is our tech guru. My name is Serena. I am a Shaw undergrad alum as well as a current Shaw MMH student concentrating in senior living. And I've been working in the industry since high school, so for collectively 10 years now.
I'm Steve Kurland. I'm a community advocate, BU MMH student, and restaurant partner right here in the Boston area. Serena mentioned two areas that we're working with. One is senior living, and the other is underserved teens. I want to start by talking about the underserved teens. You can see here that on the left of your graph is the amount of education. One of the biggest challenges teens are facing who don't have resources is lack of education and lack of ability to start a career. So in this graph, you can see the blue lines represent earnings. So from less than a high school diploma, about $600 a week, to doctoral degree, close to $2,000 a week. That's a huge, huge gap. The other lines, going the other way, the gray lines, show unemployment levels. So you can see under 2% for a doctoral degree, all the way down to over 8% on the bottom. Nobody's career starts well with unemployment and low wages. The first 10 years of anybody's career makes a substantial difference in the rest of their earning potential. If you start with low wages or worse, unemployed, and you come out of that position, you're not going to be as successful as somebody who comes out of starts in a higher paying career. You have to finish better than you start.
So now I will illustrate some of the demand drivers for the senior housing industry. So first we have, to the left, you'll see that the 80+ population in the US is growing rapidly, and within the next 4 years will double in size as 1 million people turn 80. So as a result, this, paired with the fact that fertility rates are declining at an alarming rate and women have entered the workforce over the past few decades, means that the caregiver support ratio is shrinking. This means that there'll be fewer eligible caregivers at all levels, and the caregiver ratio will be soon less than half of what it was between now and 2015. So, during times of extreme labor scarcity, the senior living industry has heavily relied on staffing agencies. Staffing agencies temporarily staff up a community using temporary day workers, but in the eyes of many senior living operators, they don't do the same job or quality of job that full-time staff do because they have no prior relationship with or knowledge of the residents' needs coming in. And while this does pose a huge challenge to the senior living industry, it furthers our position as a viable solution to these staffing issues because we strive to train and retain young teens to have successful career trajectories in senior living communities. And in general, to frame the opportunity for these teens, we have discussed with executive directors in the industry who are now 5 to 7 years from the time they entered as manager in trainings in entry-level positions. And after 5 to 7 years, they've received the title of executive director. They are making up to $180,000 per year in annual salary, given their state and their operator. But these are some of the possibilities. Additionally, I, in my time in the finance side of the industry, have met many people who transfer their operational skills over to the finance side because their operational knowledge quickly works in asset management practices at banks, REITs, private equity firms, etc. And I'll hand it back to Steve.
So how are we going to make this happen? Well, first we need to get funds, and we'll do that from local, state, and federal grants. We'll get private and institutional donors. We'll source senior living communities that want to be early adopters, and hopefully the Poyiadjis Innovation Competition will help us out. We'll recruit candidates from local schools. We're currently talking with schools in Somerville, in Lynn, and in Boston. And we'll get them into a 6-month paid internship in the senior living community. They'll be hired there, and they'll have a chance to earn a certification that will be of value to them. After the 6 months, the senior living community has the option to keep them in which case they'll put them on a growth track where they can have a successful career. Senior living communities also do a great job offering additional education on that track. So if they need more education, they'll send them for it. If they decide not to hire the teen, that teen still leaves with a valuable certification that increases their value on the market. In either case, Aging Generations will stay there and monitor and be a career coach for the teens. These are some other competitors who work in the underserved teen field, and there are many of them. But a few of my favorites are Future Chefs, is a local Boston-based culinary startup, Year Up, which is national, and Oxfam, which is global. They're all amazing groups. They all have great models we can borrow from as far as where to get donors, where to get teams, where to get companies, but none of them are in the senior living space. Here's how we plan to grow. In year one, we plan to have 8 successful placements. That means that 8 teens will be kept after the 6-month period. You can see how rapidly that grows, and by year 5, we're at about 250 placements. We do that by growing the number of communities, senior living communities, and the number of markets in which we're placing. Obviously, cost is important. As you can see, we're going to need those donations early and upfront. The model is that after a year and a half, the successful placements start to be charged for. So you can see that fee goes up and the number of students go up. As that happens, by year 5, we're self-funding and don't need outside funds.
So, thank you. So any dollars raised today or in the future will go directly to our startup costs. Specifically, we have a transportation stipend that will be given to each teen going through the program so that they don't have to worry about the financial burden of their daily commute to and from work. And so far, we've had conversations with various senior living communities and schools in the Boston area to begin sourcing our first and future cohorts. And we've been in conversations with the BU and MIT law clinics as we are now in the process of filing for our nonprofit status in Massachusetts and registering our name and trademark. So to have a successful first cohort by fall 2023, we will need 6 teens with paid apprenticeship positions in one senior living community with a minimum of $20,700 under our belt to get started. So thank you all for coming, and we'll take any questions you might have now.